the People's Army is on the march. There seems to be a movement in this country, Michael, where there's a group of people who are ashamed of our history, our heritage, our culture, the way we live our lives, the laws. People just don't want to adapt to our way of life. If you don't like our way of life, our history, our heritage, our culture, then quite frankly, you can clear off and live somewhere else.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another critical look at British politics. Today we're diving into a conversation that many are watching closely. Mike Graham's interview with Reform UK MP Lee Anderson. Now, whether you agree or disagree with Anderson's stance, one thing's clear. People are tired. Tired of broken promises, tired of the same political rhetoric, and tired of waiting for real change. Labour's Keir Starmer has promised a new direction, but are we truly seeing that? Or is this new direction which they have promised not the one they promised originally, but the vision of what they want and not the people's? Reform UK claims it has answers, with Anderson voicing concerns about crime, immigration and the failures of both major parties. But let's ask the bigger question. Has Labour done enough to earn your trust back? Or is Reform UK offering something that Labour isn't, a real alternative? As we listen to this interview, it's worth considering, are we, as a country, stuck between choosing the lesser of two evils? Or is there a third way forward, one that we haven't fully explored yet?
It's quite a sort of watershed moment, this, for Reform, isn't it? Your first proper national conference, your first time you've got 5 MPs in the House of Commons. How does it feel?
It feels wonderful, Michael. I mean, I travelled down late last night, managed to get a few drinks in the bar. It was full of Reform members. The place is buzzing. I think there's going to be nearly 4,000 members at the event today. And like I say, it's the first time we've managed to have a big event since the general election when we got over 4 million votes, 5 MPs. I'll tell you what, young man, the People's Army is on the march.
Yes, it certainly seems to be. I mean, I was just talking to Robert Jenrick. I don't know if you had a chance to hear it, but he's got a piece in the Mail today. Some people are saying he's obviously trying to kind of re-attract some people who voted Reform by saying he thinks that the very idea of England and English culture is at risk. Do you think that's true?
It is. There seems to be a movement in this country, Michael, where there's a group of people who are ashamed of our history, our heritage, our culture, the way we live our lives, the laws. People just don't want to adapt to our way of life. I've said it time and time again. If you don't like our way of life, our history, our heritage, our culture, then quite frankly, you can clear off and live somewhere else.
Indeed. And coming up to this conference, of course, you'll have Nigel Farage, you'll have your other colleagues from Parliament. How has it been in Parliament? Because, I get the sense that they're not that happy with you lot being there. They don't really like it. Every time you get up and ask them awkward questions, like your question to Angela Rayner about Islamophobia and the definition of it, just ridiculous moments where you can see them kind of sneering and kind of holding their noses, can't you?
Well, they are. I mean, they're pretty clueless at the moment, Mark. Every time we ask a question, we get a non-answer. They've sort of banned us from standing or sitting on any select committees as well. They don't want scrutiny. They're trying to shut us down in the media as well. This is a very, very poor government, by the way, Mike. Their majority is built on sand, and we've seen it already, the sleaze and the corruption within the Labour Party, Freebie, Keir, whatever they call him,
That's a new one.
Well, yeah, I know, and Keir Starmer, the granny harmer, that's not funny, by the way, but these slogans, these nicknames are sticking, and he's already, in my opinion, probably the most unpopular Prime Minister in living memory.
Well, it's hard to believe, isn't it, that this expenses scandal, and I think it's as big as the expenses scandal that was originally in Parliament, every day that it goes on, they seem to keep coming out with more and more reasons why they're justifying why Keir Starmer needs to have his suits bought for him, why he needs to have his glasses paid for, why his missus has to have suits, dresses provided, why he has to watch Arsenal from a box. I read out the menu from the Arsenal box. I mean, I wouldn't fancy it myself. There's very posh food for a man of the people.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, Mike, these people in Labour Party, they are prolific sponges, scroungers. That's what they are, It's not enough for us MPs to live off the taxpayer, which we do. We live a pretty decent life, a good salary. We get our expenses, we get our accommodation paid for in London. That's not enough for Sir Keir. He wants even more. I think it's over £100,000 he's sponged off people. He's scrounged off people over the past 4 or 5 years. And quite frankly, when little old lady, a pensioner in my neck of the woods, looks at this, who's just had 300 quid stolen off her, and she's going to have to put a couple of blankets wrapped around her during this winter period. She's looking at kids going to Arsenal hospitality. Mrs. is getting free clothes, he's getting free glasses. It's unbelievable. They are scroungers. They should give it back. It
really is incredible. And on the front page of the Times today, it says that they're actually lying about the economy because there's now £10 billion more in the budget than they thought, or that they've admitted to. The Bank of England is saying, well, now you can probably reverse that idea of taking away the winter fuel allowance, but Rachel Reeves doesn't want to.
Well, Rachel Thieves, probably sometime in the middle of next week, Mike, will probably find another black hole from somewhere. They just use excuse after excuse. Look, they've robbed the pensioners. I sort of suspect that they may think that the pensioners probably on the whole vote Conservative or vote Reform. And let's give a little bit of money to our public sector workers because they'll vote for us at the next election. It's cynical and it's buying votes and it's disgraceful.
It really is. There's been a lot of talk recently as well, Lee, about the structure of the Reform Party. We had Ben Habib on yesterday, but Nigel Farage was talking about it yesterday as well. Let's have a quick look at what he said.
So I've now made a decision. I no longer need to control this party. I'm going to let go. We will change the structure of the party from one limited by shares to a company limited by guarantee. And that means it's the members of Reform that will own this party. I'm relinquishing control of the company and indeed of the overall control of the party. It's now going to be the members, and that I think is the right thing. And it's the right thing because this conference marks the coming of age of Reform UK, and that's something that I'm very, very excited about.
A lot of people are a bit worried in Reform, Lee, that if the sort of the control is given out to the members, that you might get a load of lefty infiltrators who come in and try and sort of destroy it from within.
Yeah, well, we saw that with the Labour Party a few years back. And this is a point I did raise with Zia just a short while ago when I was talking about this. And look, if we see a sudden influx of members might joining the party, and by the way, it's 25 quid to join, if we see a sudden influx, and that triggers a red flag, and we'll be looking at it very, very carefully. But, you know, you need half, 50% of the membership to write letters into the executive or to Zia, if you like, to trigger a vote of no confidence. That's currently that would take 40,000 letters. And then at the end of the day, Mike, it goes to a panel. They look at it. Look, we're trying to be a fully democratic party. No other party offers this. And I tell you what, if they offered this sort of mechanism to remove a leader, I think Rishi Sunak would have been gone months ago, and Keir Starmer would be gone this week.
Although, I mean, Keir Starmer's making Rishi Sunak look like he wasn't that bad, though, isn't he?
Well, exactly. I think Rishi had an image problem, to be honest with you, Mike. We look at the things that Sir Keir Starmer used to say at the dispatch box when he was attacking the government as the opposition leader, and he's come in and he's absolutely had a disastrous start. Like I say, he's the most popular Prime Minister in my lifetime. Yeah. I actually think it's unbelievable what he's achieved in such a short time.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, people say to me every day, you know, it took the Tories 14 years to destroy themselves. It now looks like he's done it inside a couple of months.
It really does, Mark. It really does. And I don't know, you know, I know we bang on about the winter fuel payment. I just do not know why. It's £1 billion. You know, that's a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, in the government budget, it's not a lot of money. He's actually, you know, he's hacked off a lot of people. Not just the pensioners, Mike, but the relatives of pensioners. He's hacked off his own backbenchers, Labour supporters, and I see some of these silly people on X, which was Twitter before, coming on and trying to defend this nonsense.
Oh, I know.
But I'll tell you what, but I know your mate, Femi and Carol Vorderman and Lineker and that, they've gone quiet on the...
They've gone really quiet. Yeah, they don't say much at all these days. But the funny thing as well is, you know, what about Lord Ali, right? The mainstream media don't ask any questions about this bloke. He's given over £500,000 to Labour. Apparently, I had Jonathan Reynolds on here yesterday, and he wouldn't deny that he still had a pass to Downing Street. He wouldn't deny that he goes in every day, but he wouldn't tell me as well, what's his job? What does he do there? And what influence does he have?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, Mark. When I was deputy chairman of the Conservative Party, I had to book in to go to Downing Street. You know, you had to go through the security clearances, the checks. You have to book in, tell them what time you're arriving. We didn't get a free pass, and half the cabinet don't get a free pass to Downing Street. But it would appear, Michael, that if you're prepared to buy the Prime Minister's missus a new frock or whatever, and clothes for the Prime Minister that you can come in. I mean, it reeks, it stinks, it's unbelievable.
It really is incredible.
Mike and Anderson touched on critical issues: crime, immigration, and the frustration with an out-of-touch political elite. Or at least that is the impression they are giving us. Labour talks about change, but we've heard that before. Are they truly offering solutions? Or are we witnessing yet another party coasting on vague promises with hidden agendas? Reform UK may be seen by some as a smaller player, but as Anderson points out, people are beginning to look beyond the two-party system. The question is, will Labour listen and adapt before it is too late? Or will they continue to rely on the notion that they're the only real alternative to a Conservative government in crisis? But more importantly, will the people ever trust Labour again? The future of British politics may not lie in the hands of the biggest names, but in the willingness of the people to demand more from every party that seeks their vote. Real change doesn't come from waiting on politicians to act, it comes from us, the voters, holding them accountable. Whether it's Reform UK, Labour or any other party, it's time to remind them that they serve us and not the other way round. The power has always been with the people.